we're gonna rank another soundtrack from worst to best. In this case, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers on the NES. As usual, I'll be just doing the stage themes, so no awesome rendition of the Rescue Rangers theme song, no ending, no boss theme, no invincibility, etc., etc. Just the 7 stages. Now, there are more than 7 stages, but there are some repeat music selections. There are 2 songs on this list that appear in 3 different stages. I'll reference them as the first stage that you come across for each of them, but I'll make reference to the other stages that the song also represents. So all in all, like I said, 7 stage themes that will be ranked here. I'll preface this, like I always do, just letting everybody know that this list is just my opinion and my opinion only. It doesn't mean anything more or less than anybody else's opinion, and I don't take my own opinion very seriously, so feel free to share yours without any reservations of being judged or anything like that, as long as you respect my opinion as well. So without any further ado, let's get on with the list. At number 7, Zone B. This one's just kinda okay to me. It's got a nice jazz feel to it, very busy, but it's just kinda, I don't know, just seems like it's noodling around more than anything, and it doesn't really go anywhere. The song kinda stays in one spot for the most part. Very good playing. I mean, the whole soundtrack really has excellent musicianship, but this song, I don't know, I find it just a bit underwhelming. At number 6, Zone G. This is the Fat Cat Casino stage, and it has a very fitting swing feel to it. It has like a boogie piano lead. It does fit the casino stage quite well. Like I said, much like Zone B, the musicianship is very impressive. The sequences are very intricate. Sure as hell not something that you want to play if you want to do a video game cover and you're a beginner musician. Absolutely not. So I like the vibe, I like the atmosphere, I like the flow. I don't know, there's no real standout moments in the song that really grabs me. I don't know, it's just kind of good to have in the background, but not something that I really put on to listen to because I really want to hear this song. Number 5, Zone F. This one has a bit of a jazzy feel to it too, but it seems more like a big band number, like a full-on jazz orchestra. Not really so much in the sound. I mean, you can only project so much sound on an NES sound chip, but I mean, just the song itself, it just feels like it was written to be that kind of a song. But unlike Zone G, this one does have standout moments to me. I really like the opening bit. And while the second half is just kind of, all over the place, it complements it well. I really dig the pace. The only real detriment, though, is that it's a little bit too short. The loop ends and goes back to the beginning very quickly. It's one of those things with a faster pace song. You're gonna get to the end of the sequence earlier. So, I don't know, I think that another section needed to be thrown on to really take this one up a notch into the next level. But it is very intense. I like the song for what it is, and the 2 sections, as short as they are, do stand out amongst each other, even if there's not a lot of change going on. At number 4, Zone 0. The intro riff that comes in is the perfect way to open up the game. Keep in mind this is the first stage. It's very welcoming and inviting. It's like a door is about to open and reveal the contents of the game or the soundtrack or whatever. I don't know if this verse riff is a rendition of something from the TV show or not. I want to say that it is. It's been years since I watched it, but I feel like this riff is from the show somewhere or another. It's also a fairly short loop too, but The sections are quite different from each other, and the way it wraps up and goes back to the main riff is really cool. Nothing fancy or anything like that, but I do like the way that last sustaining note kind of bends a little bit and then just transitions right back into the main verse riff. At number 3, Zone A. This is probably the hookiest riff in the game. It stays in your head quite a bit, more so than probably any other riff in the game. And I don't know, part of it might be the fact that you also hear this song in 2 other levels. Although, to be honest, these 3 stages are all very optional. It's very straightforward. A lot of the songs in the soundtrack have odd bars. This is just a 4/4. I don't know if I'd say it's really a rock song, but it definitely has more of a, I don't know, pop angle, I guess. Just more conventional than most of the songs on the soundtrack. It probably would be the lead single. Like, this would be the song to sell the album. Definitely is catchy and hooky. The only issue that I have with it really is that it's a little repetitive. The second section is more or less an extension of the first. But that being said, it's still a pretty killer song. At number 2, Zone D. This one builds up really nicely, and it's a change of pace from the up-tempo, busy sequences that much of the soundtrack is made up of. It's more deliberately paced, but every section of the song is really cool. I don't think there's really much of a weak moment in the song, and I don't think I really have a favorite part of the song either. I feel like it's very balanced in quality. But I do like the shift in mood, I guess, with the end of the loop going back into the intro. It doesn't seem like it's really that different, but because, I don't know, it's just the whole thing flows through so seamlessly that, I don't know, you just kind of calibrated to the mood and you really feel like it's hasn't changed at all. But I don't know, there's something about the very end and then going right back to the beginning. It's not an awkward change or anything like that, but it does showcase how different the beginning of the song is from the end. It's just the journey from beginning to end is very seamless and flows to the point that you don't even realize how different it is until you get back to the beginning. I don't know if I explained that as well as I could have, but it is what it is. Number 1, Zone J. I hate to use the word epic to describe anything artistic, whether it's music or movies, because the word is overused to point out anything positive, that the word has kind of lost its meaning by this point. But there definitely is an epic kind of finality to the tone of this one. This song had no chance in hell of being in any spot other than the final stage of the game. The first half of the song is definitely way more straightforward and simple compared to a lot of the complex riffs that take place throughout the rest of the soundtrack. It does get busier and more involved in the second half, but even then it's still more conventional than the majority of the soundtrack, and that is not a positive or negative by itself. There's definitely a ton of songs that are better or worse because of the fact that they are too basic and not interesting enough, or too noodly and complicated and not interesting enough because of it. So I'm not knocking or praising the song for being in that category. I'm praising it because I think the whole thing is just straight up fucking awesome. I think my favorite section of the whole soundtrack is the main verse of this one. Again, very simple, but very effective. You know when you hear that, shit is going down. You're at the end of the game here. Like, I'm pretty sure that if they didn't have the map screen in this game, once I hit this stage, I would have known, yeah, I'm at the last level here. Second half of the song also is very well done with the layering. You got kind of a rhythmic riff playing behind the lead melody, and they blend with each other perfectly. They give each other enough space to do what they need to do. It's very hard to even notice because they don't stop on each other, those two instruments. I'd have to say that I think that the song is underrated in terms of talking about some of the all-time greats on the NES. I think Rescue Rangers, the show, the game, the soundtrack, and this song in particular, all kind of, I want to say, fall into the shadow of DuckTales a little bit, and I think they're right neck and neck with each other. Two of my favorites, and much like the DuckTales soundtrack, I could listen to this soundtrack front to back any day. Here's a recap of the list. Number 7 was Zone B. Number 6, Zone G. Number 5, Zone F. Number 4, Zone 0. Number 3, Zone A. Number 2, Zone D. And number 1, Zone J. So what was your opinion of the list? What is your opinion of the soundtrack? And where would you rank these songs? So that wraps up this ranking the soundtrack. We'll see you next time.